On this week's episode, it's another edition of My Portugal, where we speak to normal people who have discovered Portugal, fallen in love with Portugal, and found a home in Portugal. This week, I'm joined by chef and artist Maddalena. Originally from Italy, spent most of her adult life in America, and now living the simple life in Portugal. And this is some of her story. Welcome back, or welcome to another episode of Portugal, the Simple Life. And I'm here with Maddalena. Maddalena, it's another episode of My Portugal. Yes. How are you?
I'm good.
Yeah?
Yes, I'm doing good today.
Good.
Yes.
So for those people listening and watching, My Portugal is a series that we do on the podcast, where we speak to people who have found Portugal, fallen in love with Portugal, and made Portugal their home. And I'm joined with Maddalena. Maddalena, where are we right now? Tell us where we are.
We are in my house right now.
Okay.
That is in Salir do Porto.
Okay.
Yeah, in the little village.
So where in the country is that for people that are...
Is in the north, about an hour north of Lisbon.
Okay.
It's called Costa de Oeste, and it's right on the water,
Okay.
close to the Bay of San Martino do Porto.
We wanted to do it outside on the veranda, but finally we've got some rain.
Yeah, rain and very windy.
Yeah,
yes.
But we needed some rain.
Yes, we did.
We were missing...
in a drought.
I
I escaped the drought and the fires, and I got here, and we have a little drought and a fire. Not as bad
exactly.
as where I came from, but pretty bad.
In
California.
In the US?
Yeah.
Okay, tell us you're originally from Italy?
Yes, I'm Italian, yes. I'm Italian.
Whereabouts?
I grew up in Italy. I'm from Sardinia.
Sardinia?
Yes,
okay.
so I'm Sarda.
Okay, and then you went to the US?
Yeah, I went to the US, yes, and I stayed in the US. I went to college there and worked normally, became a citizen and spent, many years there.
Okay,
yeah.
So that most of your adult life was in the US?
Yeah, some. I was already, I was a bit young, but I was still an adult when I moved to the US, yes.
Okay. And how did this sort of, this relationship with Portugal start?
I don't know. When I was in Italy, when I was living in Sardinia, some people talked about, Portugal, because a lot of the fish that they sold in the markets in Sardinia came from Portugal, the boats, especially from Madeira. And so I heard, we knew about Portugal, but it was always a little country somewhere close to Spain. And so when I went to the US, then I traveled every year. I went somewhere, France, and I went to Spain. I went, all over the European countries. And then one year I said, okay, I'm going to go to Portugal. And I had a little radio show, and I went and recorded from a phone booth my radio show. Yeah, I didn't have a cell phone. I didn't bring my cell phone, so in a phone booth I recorded my radio show and talked about sardines.
Okay.
Yes.
While you were in Portugal?
Well, I was in Portugal.
Oh,
yes.
where
I called on the phone the radio station, and I recorded my little program.
Amazing.
That it was called Maddalena's Kitchen.
Okay.
Yes,
okay,
in public radio.
Okay, so what was the show about? Was cooking?
About cooking, the show was about cooking because I had a restaurant at the time.
Okay,
in the California Mediterranean restaurant.
Okay,
so,
amazing.
Yeah.
But you're a multi-talented woman. You had a restaurant, cooking. You're also an artist.
Yes, I originally an artist, a graphic design, and an illustrator. Then I went to cooking. Then I went back to design, and then I went to got my master's in environmental science, and then I became an environmentalist, and then I worked as an environmentalist, and then I went back to painting.
Okay.
Now I'm painting.
Now you paint.
Now I'm painting.
Just painting.
And gardening.
And sometimes cooking.
And cooking, yes, cooking.
Yeah.
I do cooking.
Okay, good. When was that first experience, that first visit to Portugal?
In 96.
96.
Many years ago.
Yeah,
yes.
And that was where in the country?
We brought the bikes with one of my cooks and another friend. We brought our bikes, and we decided, because I come to Portugal before 96, and I thought, it's not very hilly. We can bring our bikes, and I don't like hills. And so we brought our bikes. It was very hilly.
Which part of the country?
The south. We went south. We went to Évora inland, and then from inland we went in south all the way to the bottom.
It can be.
And we took a boat to go to Morocco, but we left our bikes in hotel.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So it can be.
It was February, and it was raining. We didn't bring a sleeping bag, so it was kind of hard. we didn't find place to sleep. The roads were with calçados, so it was really hard on the bikes in the little villages. Yes.
Yeah, especially the historic ones. It would have been a challenge.
Yes.
So that was a tough first experience of the country.
It was beautiful though, because the inland south of Évora is really pretty. Little villages. Yeah, it was very pretty. Little castle, little villages on top of hills. It's very pretty.
I mean, besides the visually, and I want to talk about colours and the visual aspect of Portugal a bit later, but besides that kind of memory with the visual aspect of it, what were some of the things that stood out for you on that trip that kind of surprised you about the country, that you thought this is special?
I remember when we came out of the airport in Lisbon, it wasn't like this now. It was very small, and I said, wow, there's nothing here. It was very nice. It was very country and very simple. And when we went to Évora, people were very nice. We stayed in a like a farmhouse with their little houses, and the people were the owners were very, very nice to us. Very, very nice. They cooked for us, and they make bacalhau with potatoes, grilled. It was very tasty. Then I used it in the restaurant, the recipe.
Okay. Yeah. Do you think they know that you used the recipe? Did you
I
tell
don't
them?
think so. I don't think so.
I'm sure they'd be very happy to hear that
They were an older couple. They had little chickens. It was a little farm, and they had little houses. It was very nice. And the people in Évora were very nice, because I had to exchange. I had a cart with my bike, but it was too heavy. So I went to a bike store and I said, I want to get panniers. And they said, oh, I'm looking for a cart. I'll take your cart and give you panniers. So we exchanged, and it was very, very, very pleasant.
So you did an old school barter?
Yes, we did.
Exchange thing.
And the people were very nice. And in the little villages were very nice. Yeah.
So that was your first thing that you thought, wow, this is special. This is something different.
Yeah. And I kept coming back. The other times, there wasn't. Yeah,
you visited Portugal a lot after that.
Yes.
Okay. For how many times?
Maybe 3 or 4 times.
Okay, and always a different location. You tried different parts.
Yes, I went north in Porto, and then I went to Minho, and I stayed there in a windmill. An old windmill actually it wasn't windmill. I think it was a watermill, because it was an old watermill, and they had a river, a little creek, and the wheel was still working.
Oh wow!
Yes, it was very pretty. Amazing. Very pretty.
Okay, so you saw quite a lot of the country.
Yes.
Over those years. So, at what point did you start to think, I want to move to Portugal, and what's happened along?
Well, first because my family is in Europe, and so I got tired of flying all the time to see them. I really got tired. It's a long way.
Yeah, it's California.
From California
to Europe.
Yes, from California to Sardinia. It's 2 planes. You go to Milan, you go to London. I go to London, and then from London to Sardinia. Yeah, it's a long way.
Always.
Yeah, it's tiring. Yeah. And I got tired after many years of doing it.
Okay.
So I said, I think it's time to move. And everybody said, oh, Italy is so beautiful. And Italy is beautiful. But I got away from the United States because politically I didn't like it anymore. People, before COVID, and they were starting this craziness. And I said, I don't want to be here. And I liked Los Angeles, but then it became really expensive and just polluted. And I said, I think it's time to go.
So you saw it changing, because you'd been there for quite a long time. You saw it changing to what it was, to what it is now.
Well,
and you didn't like what it changed.
I might have always been like that, but people were not showing it.
Okay.
And then all of a sudden everybody felt comfortable to be nasty to everybody else.
Yes. Yeah. So it was more for you. It was more about just the animosity and the general spirit of how everyone was living. And
also, I think I felt it was time for a change. The travel, it was long, and then my family getting older, everybody, and I wanted to spend more time with them, and just in general, I thought they needed to go. Okay. It's time to go.
And then so Portugal was forefront in your mind, or how did that happen that you?
Well, I didn't want to go to France.
Okay.
I didn't want to go any place, and I thought Portugal the weather was nice, although it rains, but it's okay. And sometimes it's gray, but it's okay too. But they have beautiful days with the blue sky, and the water is really close. I said, I think I want to go to Portugal. I am going to learn a new language, meet new people, and be in another country. It's always challenging. It is a challenge.
Yeah. And why not Italy? I mean, I've heard that there's a lot of similarities between the two.
Well, because if I moved to Italy, I was thinking about Sicily. I said no. Also politically, things are crazy. I want a little country with friendly people. They don't go to war with anybody. They don't have big, huge army.
Peaceful.
Peaceful, yes. I wanted a peaceful country. And the United States is not, and it wasn't. It is getting worse and worse. Italy, it is and it isn't, because they have a lot of issues. And I thought, Portugal, Spain. I thought about Spain. I said, no. I think I want to go to Portugal. I speak Spanish already, so I said, no, I think it's time to learn another language.
Okay. So then just tell us a little bit about that journey. So how did it start how did you start looking, talking? How did you kind of, the beginning of getting this house? How did that all start?
I started looking on the internet about places where you could actually swim, and the water was warm, but the water is warmer here than it is north of Porto, or also in the north part of the Silver Coast, but it is warm in Algarve. But I didn't want to go to Algarve. Mm-hmm. It's just too many foreigners. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I wanted to be with the people of the country. I didn't.
Okay, so you started searching for places that you could swim.
That's yes, close to the water.
So what did you do? Did you Google something? Did you say?
Yeah, where is the warmest water in Portugal? Okay. And they told me that actually here the water wasn't too bad, and the lagoon wasn't too bad. Okay. Yes, which is true. Okay. The lagoon, if it's shallow, it's not that cold. Yes.
Well, look, it's funny because I've had a couple of people on the podcast because I think the water's lovely, and I've had a lot of people on the podcast say the water's really cold. But as you said, further north, if you go into the water like Spinho and Porto up there, that's in your bones cold. Yeah. This is okay, but anyway, let's get back to how you searched. So you searched for the warmest water in Portugal.
Yes, I did.
And then what happened?
And calm, because I know there are big waves. Yeah, I've always known about Nazaré.
You didn't want to swim at Nazaré?
No, I always know. Well, it's an open ocean, so it's not the Mediterranean and it's not the Caribbean, so the waves are big, and more so because they get a lot of wind. So I knew that. So I had to look for protected places, and I found, the north of Lisbon. I wanted to be north of Lisbon, not too far from Lisbon, because I like to go to the city sometime. Mm-hmm. And so I found that the Laguna Navadoro was really pretty. And then I looked and said, it's close to San Martino too. I said, great, I think this is the place.
And these are two places that you'd never been before?
No, I hadn't been here.
So no. This was all online initially?
Yes. Okay. But then I came after the Camino, I did come to Navadoro and check it out. Yes. And I stayed in Navadoro in Airbnb. And and then got to explore the lagoon and go explore San Martino, Nazaré, and the other places, Bailao, Peniche.
When was that? Was that before you came to?
There was the Camino was in September. Yeah, in September. Just COVID had just started.
Yeah, September of 2020.
20. Yes.
And you came and did the Camino.
Yes, I did the Camino in August.
Far? Where did you go?
I went from Irún to Santiago, but I didn't do it completely. Okay. I did 450 kilometers because the rest, sometimes I jumped. When I didn't see that I was interested in a place. Okay. But, I did the coastal Camino, which is 800 kilometers. Okay. It was a little bit too much.
How was it?
Very nice. I was the only one.
There were no other walkers?
Because the Americans couldn't come because of COVID. And the European, pretty much they had COVID too, and they stayed in their homes. And so, I didn't have any problem being European coming. And with the European passport, I was alone.
Even from America, you could get.
Yeah, because I used the European passport. Yeah.
Crazy how that works.
I know.
Yes,
sir. There was nobody. I mean, I think I ran into maybe altogether in 450 kilometers or 800 kilometers, which some of it I didn't do. Maybe I ran in like 15 people. The hotels were very empty.
The whole time, 15. Yeah. Amazing. Okay, so it was quiet.
Yeah.
Too quiet.
No, it was nice until I found out there were wolves crossing the Galicia mountain.
Oh.
Yeah, I didn't know.
You didn't see any of them?
No, because when I arrived to Compostela, they said, weren't you worried about the wolves? And I said, I thought they said robbers. And I said, no, nobody tried to rob me. And he said, no. I said,
bush.
oh my, see, I said, wolves. They said, yeah, they don't follow you. I said, well, if they did, I didn't know.
About it. Okay, so you've done the Camino,
Yes.
and then after that you decided, let's come around and look
Yes.
around here a little bit.
Yes.
Okay. And that was just a couple of days, you looked around, and
I
then you
stayed
went...
for maybe 2 weeks.
Okay.
Rented a car,
Okay.
drove around,
Okay.
drove around with us, went to Porto, drove around to Lisbon, just check the area.
Okay.
And then Caldas.
And then you went back.
Yes, and I went back.
And then you started...
And then I started looking for homes.
Okay, so then you sort of gone, okay, I've now visited the area.
Yes.
I like it.
Yes.
Let me start looking for actual houses.
Yes.
Okay, and that's when we got in touch, I think.
Yes, but I contacted somebody else in Villaluz. But then it didn't work out because I sent them an email. I told them, I said, look, I'm going to go back to the US. I'm going to sell my house and I'm going to come back. What do you have? And so I emailed him and we met. And then I emailed him when I arrived at the US. I said, I'm selling my house now, and he didn't respond.
Okay.
So I said, okay.
Look somewhere else.
Yes, I looked somewhere else. Then when I saw your agency.
Okay, and then we started talking. We had a couple of Zoom calls.
Yes.
And then you came.
Yeah, and then I came. Yeah.
How was that experience? I mean, what were you when you came that time? Because now you're coming with a different kind of mindset, a different attitude. It's not so much just to see and have a holiday. It's to, hey, can I live here? Can I be? What were the things that you were looking for?
Well, I knew that I could live here. I mean, because I've lived
already.
in other countries, in Mexico, in the US, is a big change from Europe to the United States. So adapting is not the problem. Finding the right place.
Yeah.
Yeah. These are two things that I didn't want to compromise. I wanted to live close to the water because I didn't want to drive to be able to go to the beach, and I wanted to a garden. Yeah, those are the two things. Everything else, it was okay.
That's easy.
Easy. I know. People have, I see them have like 20 things in the list. I have the store next to me. I want to be in front of the water. I have to have this and that and that. I said, really? I said, well, you have $1 million. Maybe you can find it. Because, you can't have all those things.
Was there anything
maybe
were there any things that you were worried about? Were there any things you were worried about that... kind of you needed that trip to be a confirmation for you? Were there any things that you were unsure if this was going to be a good move for you?
No, I never had that. No, I decided that was it, and that was it. I sold my house with 2 weeks, that I just built. It was a 1-year-old house. I just built it. Yeah, I sold the house. Yeah. And this is very similar, but mine was a little bigger. And then I said, that's it. Found a container during COVID. It was not easy to ship some things, not everything. Some things I got rid of, but a lot of things I shipped. And that was it. Then I just went to Mexico for a month at the beach to just mentally prepare myself, and visit my friends, and then that's it. And then I came here.
It's interesting because you have. We've had other people do the My Portugal, and their journeys are slightly different. Some people don't know that much about the country, and they kind of combine finding out about the country and looking for a house in one trip and things. You had known enough about the country to know. Yeah. What were those things in all those years and those visits that you had learned about the country and experienced about the country that you thought that got you to the point where you knew, I can live here, I'm going to enjoy living here? What were some of those things that you liked?
Well, it's pretty. It is pretty. I mean, it's in a compact way, because it's small and it doesn't have that many people. That I like that. It's only got 1 million people living here. So, and considering, it's pretty empty. Maybe not anymore. Maybe it won't be empty.
It's getting busier.
It's getting busier.
But we still have a lot of space for everyone, so it's okay.
Yeah. And so that was one thing. And then the people were nice.
How important was that for you? That just the people are nice. That the people are just pleasant.
You want to live, in a place where people are nice. You don't want to live, in a place where people are not nice. I just got away from a place where people were not very nice. Not to me personally, but in general, to other human beings. Yeah. considering that I think if I spoke Portuguese better, I think it would be a lot easier. But even with my, I'm learning. I'm taking classes and stuff, so I'll master the language. No doubt.
I think you'll experience Portugal in maybe a more deeper way.
Yes.
With the language than now, but it takes time.
Yes.
It takes time.
That's okay.
Yeah, exactly. What about the food?
The food is good. The food is good, yes.
And the ingredients for cooking?
I like sardines. I like fish.
Well, it's funny that you were in Sardinia. You were here first time ever doing a radio show.
Yes.
There's a connection to you with fish, with sardines, and the sardine festival happens right here in your village.
Yes, it did, and I did go and eat.
Did you go?
Yes, I did. Of course, I did. Yes,
so did we.
Yes,
we went with my family.
Yes.
Let's just go back to kind of the process. So, I mean, two hard things: water and a garden.
Yes, water and a garden.
Take us through some of those other steps. So, you and I Zoomed. We spoke a little bit about all of these things, and then eventually you came.
Yes.
And tell us about that. Tell us about that process and what made it. Yeah, what made it all happen for you?
Well, as you said, after I spoke to you and I came, and then you connected me with Bruno, it was very nice.
He's a nice guy.
Very nice guy.
Even though he's French, it's okay.
Well, he's Portuguese though, isn't it? Well, yeah, he kind of grew up in France.
I'm just teasing. I always tease him about this.
No, he's very personable and and so he showed me the place, but I didn't really take very long. The only thing that I was questioning, I wanted a single family home. I didn't want it like this one is almost halfway in between a single family home and a condominium, because I didn't want to be in a condominium.
Yeah.
But this one feels, because we're not attached, we don't share the wall of the house. So, and then I'm in a corner and I have a big garden. So when he showed me the places, it didn't take me very much to decide.
It was an easy decision for you, and you felt good with him and how he operated and the way things were done, the communication.
Nice. Yes, we stayed friendly. We went to lunch to. I promised that I was going to take him to lunch to Tasca de Janeca, and we did go.
Up on the ridge.
Up the ridge. I said, well, we after everything is done and I moved in, we go to lunch, and we did go to lunch.
Okay, but you bought this house, it was not finished.
Not finished, yes.
Okay, so you had also had a bit of support along the way with the finishing of the house.
Yes, and I made changes, and it wasn't there, but hey, I built a house already, and I know how it is, and the city of Los Angeles is very difficult to get permits, to move things along. It's very difficult. So I already knew that it wasn't going to be that simple, because you have to wait for the camera, you have to wait for the inspections, and so I knew that already. Yeah. So, and I made some changes to the house. Yeah, but I found the contractor to be very nice.
Yeah.
Very, very personable. And they were always here, so, sometimes I spoke to them instead of speaking to the project
manager.
Yes. Yeah. Which I shouldn't have done, but it was easy because I was here and they were always around. They were very nice. Marco and Luis, they're very, very nice people.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
So in the end, the house got finished, not exactly on time, but
that was it.
Not too.
I had a little bit of an issue because I was in an Airbnb and it was not cheap, and it was winter, and the Airbnb is right in front of the lagoon, and it was very cold. It was an old Portuguese house. I mean, really damp, and it cost me a lot of money in electric bills to keep it warm, because you couldn't turn anything off because it was too damp.
Yeah.
Yeah. So living in a lagoon in the winter time is not.
Well, living in that in an old house down there, and then also you had the experience of staying in a mill. Did that influence your decision to?
But we had a big fireplace though.
Yeah. But did that influence your sort of decision to look at more modern style houses? Was that something that you thought about?
No, I didn't think about that. I just thought that I had just built a new house and I liked having a new house.
Okay.
And so that's why.
That was more about having something new.
Because I like the traditional Portuguese house, but you have to do a lot of work to make it livable, with the cold. I don't want to live with the humidity and the cold.
Yeah, and also these days with energy and everything, we have to be careful with how much energy we spend. Yeah.
And I think you need a lot. And a fireplace doesn't really do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's true. Tell us a little bit about your village.
It's very cute and very small. I remember looking up on the internet, how many people live here? And it tells me in Wikipedia, 500. I don't know.
Feels more like a bit more than that.
Yeah, I think with all the people, but the people come and go though.
Yeah.
A lot of the people come and go.
Yeah.
They're not here. It said 500. I think it needs to be updated. I don't think it's 500, but it's very small. It may be not even 800, maybe.
I don't know. I must check. I'm sure we see the actual. They did the recent. What do you call it? When they go and do the statistics for all the different villages, they did that recently.
The census.
The census. So maybe now there's a different thing.
Yeah, maybe.
Or maybe someone needs to.
But in Wikipedia, it was 500.
We need to update Wikipedia.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if the people from Wikipedia are listening, we need to update. Salute de Porto doesn't have 500 people because that is small.
But it is small still.
Yeah.
It is very small.
But you like
it's very quaint. Yes. Yes. And I find it that it's very close to, if I have a little market over there, I go to the little market. There is a little square there with a little cafe.
Donna Maria.
Yes.
Yes, she's
and
there.
And there is a little square and a little cafe.
Yeah.
And I noticed that there is an outdoor seating, and the outdoor seating has the foreigners, and the indoor seating has the local Portuguese. So I always go inside. So it gives me a chance to listen to the language, and there is a TV. I can listen to the programs and talk, sometimes talk, but briefly talk to the people.
How's the coffee?
The coffee is good.
Yeah, because Italians, coffee is important as well.
Yes, it is important. The meglio del latte is the closest that I've ever found to a cappuccino, and sometimes they don't steam the milk too much. But it's good. The coffee, the espresso, just the coffee.
Good.
Yeah, just the coffee, chai that I like it long, is very, very good. No, I find the coffee good.
So what else do you like about your village, Salito Porto? Because we're going to get onto the way it looks.
Yes.
Because of your artist eyes, but what else do you enjoy about living here?
And the closeness of, there is a beautician that I use over there, there is a little supermarket over there, the little church over there, the little cemetery close here, the post office right there. I like it. I like it close, and the beach is close by.
Favorite restaurant in the village?
I haven't gone to any other restaurant. I didn't hear good things about it. No,
you have to try. You have to taste.
But I'm a little picky on the food.
Okay. So do you have particular tastes?
Yes. Yeah.
And then you've got San Martino right next door.
Yes.
So it's beautiful.
Yes.
It's nice
San
and close.
Martino is very close. Yeah. Yes, and I walk it sometimes, and there's more restaurants there, and it's beautiful. Now they redid the pathway to the beach, and and it's beautiful. I take pictures, and I'm going to do another painting of the new pathway, and the dunes are beautiful. No, Salito do Porto is very pretty.
Yeah.
And
has your family visited?
Yes, they did come, but not here because the house wasn't ready. But we did come to see the house. Yeah, they came last year for Christmas.
Oh, wonderful! So more trips planned?
Yes, I think so. I think this year my sister will come for sure, and my brother may be with his family again. Yeah, and my other brother will come eventually.
With they have little children, so for the
they have 2 little kids, and they said they wanted the pool, but in the wintertime the pool is not going to be working. No, I don't think so.
That's a bit cold. That's a bit cold.
I think so. I have a heater, but it's still not.
I noticed you showed me earlier on one of your art pieces that you've done with the Abydos Lagoon. Mm-hmm. As an artist, what do you love about this place? With the natural beauty.
It's like the road that goes up from here to Foz del Rei. Sometimes I walk it, and now I'm exploring all the little paths that go to the ocean, and it's just every single one is different. And I go down, kind of dangerous sometimes because they're very steep, but I explored already 4, so I'm going to eventually explore them all. Walking.
Those little
it goes almost to the ocean, but it doesn't go exactly to the ocean because it's kind of rough, but it goes down almost to the ocean, and every one of them is a little different. In one of them I found a little area with a little bench, and little table they're like a picnic
place?
Yes, you just see like a little country road. I have to walk it, can't go down with a car, and it's very pretty. The views every time I go, I take so many pictures, and then eventually I'll use them if I see something that is really interesting. But I take pictures just
the colors are just amazing.
The coast is beautiful.
Yeah,
it reminds me of
the green and the blue
California. The coast of
California.
California. It's like a mini California, minus other things, but
minus some problems.
Minus some California problems.
Yeah, I've heard so. What do you? For you you've traveled to how many countries have you traveled to?
many, all over Europe.
Except for the world.
Yeah,
so in
Japan.
Total, 20?
I haven't been to Asia.
20
only Japan.
or more?
Maybe more.
More than 20?
Yeah, I've been to Australia, I've been to Japan, I've been to Fiji, Tahiti, all over the United States, I've been all over Europe, except I haven't gone to the Eastern European country. I'm not really interested that much. Africa, I haven't been in many places, only Morocco and Tunisia.
Yeah. So, I mean, you mentioned you're a woman that could probably make it work wherever you go.
Yes.
And you would make a place work wherever you went to make it your home. But what do you think makes Portugal, when you compare it to some of these other places, what do you think makes Portugal special for you?
Well, I think it's, I mean, there is other places, beautiful places in the world. But I think, well, the fact that it's so close to Europe and I can just drive it. I can drive and go to, go even to Italy with a car. And then it's just tiny, but it's connected. You see, I didn't want to go back to Sardinia because it's an island, and you feel very isolated. And this one is connected, but still not connected in a way. So that's what is nice. It's like its own little place, its own little island, but at the same time it's connected because Spain is close by. Yeah. But it is very insular at the same time, and it feels kind of private. Not anymore with all these people coming, but it's okay. Well, I guess you can't
have it all.
No, and I'm from open countries anyway.
Yeah, and you've now, since being here, you've also travelled to other parts of the country. It's a great country to explore.
I went. Yeah. Well, I haven't explored much because I've been busy. But I went to Mallorca recently. I'm going to Italy on the 20th. Here, I've been to Porto, but always go to Lisbon at least twice a month. I went all the way south, recently to Algarve, and then I went. That's it pretty much because before I didn't have a car and now I have the car, but now there is other things going on. The house wasn't ready and now the house is ready, and then I have to fix it, and then the garden, and then the shows and the painting. So that keeps me pretty busy for a couple of months.
For people that are thinking of doing something similar, making this move, what advice would you give to them, and also what kind of resources would you tell them to go and look at and see to better prepare themselves or educate themselves?
Well, in the internet there is everything. I mean, everything, you just reword it and you find everything that you need. Everything. I mean, you find everything.
Yeah. Where's the warmest water in Portugal?
The what?
The warmest water in Portugal. That's what you typed
in. Anything. How to do this, how to do that, and these groups of expats, that you can join if you want to do that. I haven't, only Silva Costa home. That's about it, because it's good information too to join the group, and the volunteers that I joined, the volunteers, and they to be open. It's not your country. I mean, if you come from another country like in the United States. This is not the United States. This is Portugal, and so you have to kind of fit in. That's what I say. You have, sorry, but you have to kind of learn the language. I know that everybody speaks English, but it is nice that you make an effort to learn Portuguese. It's not an easy language. It's not. No, it's not.
Actually, yeah. For some of we have a lot of American listeners. What kind of a couple of tips would you give to them? Because there's some big differences that sometimes they tend to struggle with between America and Portugal. I mean, what are some of those things that you'd say to people just to be aware of?
Well, it's the bureaucracy. I mean, in the United States, with all these issues they have, but things get done pretty fast. But here, it's a little bit, I just got my utente now, but I've been waiting for like 6-7 months. And, a lot of patience. Yeah, a lot of patience. Things work the way they work. And, and don't tax the system. Don't tax the system with your health issues. I know a lot of people want to come here because it's very expensive in the U.S. So, I just read that the Portuguese man that went to New York and it's $150,000 of bills. Yeah, he's from Porto. He was a trainer for a soccer group for Porto. Yeah, and now they're doing a fundraising for raising money. So I know there are a lot of people, and it's a good, there is a system that is free for residents, but it's not right. I feel that is not right. I paid in the European because I lived in Italy, so I paid in the system, but I didn't pay since I was in the US, so I don't feel that I should tax the system only if it's an emergency and I have to go to the hospital.
Sure.
Yeah. So I'm getting private insurance, and I don't think it's right because the system is already being taxed, and I know there is issues and delays, and they don't have enough doctors, so they don't need you with your medical issues to put. And medical insurance is not expensive here. It's not like $500 like in the US a month.
Yeah.
Or more.
Yeah. You mentioned earlier on when we were speaking about it being peaceful and nice people and safe for a woman that's here on her own most of the time. That's important. And how safe is it here? I
go to the beach sometimes, and now the days are getting shorter. It's night when I come back. It's 9 o'clock. It's already dark. I never felt. No, I don't even think about it. You look at your surrounding, you're aware of them, but I never felt that even in the house here, it feels very, very comfortable.
Very safe.
Yeah, very safe, yes. Good. I know there are probably places where it's a little bit less safer, maybe in Lisbon, big cities where, I got robbed one of the times that
in Lisbon?
Yeah, but many years ago. Okay. Yeah, but it was my fault. It was my fault. I went to one of those centers to make a phone call, and I had my backpack, and the wallet was in the back pocket. They bumped me, and they opened, and they took my wallet.
Gone. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was my fault.
Yeah. No, it wasn't your fault, but it can happen.
Yeah.
Maddalena, thank you. I think there are a lot more things that we could speak about, but mostly for our listeners, what makes this Portugal your Portugal?
I know. I feel home. I feel home. I feel comfortable. I feel like this is my house now, my home.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I'm going to let you call it.
That's a wrap.
So thank you once again to Maddalena, and thank you to all of you for listening. Please subscribe, share with your friends, give us a thumbs up, and please leave a comment or a review. We'd love to hear from you. We'll be back next week with a brand new episode. And as we say in Portugal, a nossa. Welcome to the simple life.